So what we're doing is one of the most pleasurable, flat out, just fun things that I look forward to every year. We're in southern Arizona, Mexico's right over there, and we are looking for those little whitetail deer, technically called Coues deer, but everyone calls them Coues, Javelina, Mearns quail, ducks, jackrabbits. If it's here and edible, we're hunting it. We've got so many friends down here. We got some that specialize in quail, some that are serious whitetail hunters, some that are just like me, that whatever it is fine with me. And so for the next week, we're all gonna be out here archery hunting for deer, possibly javelina. A couple of us have archery javelina tags. Quail. We're having some friends come who have falcons. So we're gonna do falconry for waterfowl. I don't know how we could have any more fun than what we're gonna have this week. This is our third year doing this hunt, and every year we invite a few more people and a few more people, and this year you're gonna see so many people in and out of the camera, I don't know that I can even list them all off. It's always fun when you can bring different people with different perspectives. Every day it's something, some new people in some new place, and I really, really enjoy it. Did you bring any sandtail crane?
Yeah.
We have Mr. Heffelfinger with us today. He has written numerous books on the ins and outs. He's the modern day Elliot Coues. If there's anything about Coues deer that we need to know, we have the human encyclopedia right here.
He brought the book, the audio book.
Yep. What is it? Deer of the Southwest, right?
Deer of the Southwest.
Hey Brian, nobody can get around you. The first real day of hunting, we came, not very far from where I'm sitting right here, maybe a mile. And there's a really good glassing knob. We've hunted here in the past. And right at daylight, we're out there glassing and we're seeing deer and seeing deer and seeing deer. We're out here in a spot that in prior years, we've seen a lot of deer from right here. The idea being in the morning, the does are up on their feet. And I do a lot of quick scanning in the morning when the deer are moving. And then when they bed, once the sun's been up for a while, then you use big binos like this to just grid. Stop them, glass, move them, glass. So we're gonna get them. So with all of us sitting there, we had a lot of optics pointed at the hillsides, and we ended up glassing up a pretty decent buck. But he, like happens in this oak country, they just vanish. We knew where we thought he was because he would do is get up, walk around, check these two does. They'd get up and then they'd disappear. And then they'd get up 20 minutes later and he'd be walking around them and they'd disappear. But it was all happening within this one really, really small area. And normally I will not go and stalk a buck that I haven't actually got a visual of where he's bedded. But with this one, I said, what the heck? We got a whole week here hunting. this ridge. And Marcus spotted a deer over there and he's coming down. So we're thinking of dropping down here and use this little spine in front of us to... What do we got to lose? There's no way we're gonna do anything crazy and sneaking through all this stuff. So we may as well get down here. Know that the wind's we're both quartering into the wind. And maybe when we get down to that tight spot, he's in range. I don't know. Stranger things have happened. Spooked him on my way in here. Been sitting here for an hour. He was coming down this trail. I think last time I saw him from over there, he was over right in this tree right here, right underneath it. I'm gonna cross, get on that trail and walk out of here. Shoot one on the way out, closer to the truck. Jerry and Wade, they said, well, you go stalk that buck. We're gonna go hunt Mern's quail the rest of the day.
Easy. Moving, Jerry. No. Just flex slower. I don't know if it's good girl, Shy. Hold. Hold. Come here. Hold. 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 Drop. Good girl. Male, female? Male. Pretty bird. This time of year they're starting to get their full plumage, so it's not always an indicator, but it looks like a mature male just by the white on it. But if you look at the feathers here, this is actually a first-year bird. It doesn't have the defined lines all the way across with a high contrast, so this is this year's bird. That was a good cubby. 12 birds or so.
When we got back to camp, Michael and Wade and Jerry rolled in, and I think they only had one quail. So they said the quail hunting was good. They said the shooting wasn't that good. So it kind of speaks to that. So with that day coming to an end, I'm pretty excited because I already had a stalk the first day. What I'll see in the remaining days, who knows? But I've told Jim Heffelfinger, and they call him Jackrabbit Jim because he knows all about jackrabbits. He runs a jackrabbit camp for kids. He's got some great recipes for jackrabbits. I told him, I said, you know, after what we ate last year in terms of high quality antelope jackrabbit, I'm looking for any antelope jackrabbit I can find. And when we headed out that morning, the antelope jackrabbits were in abundance.
Look at him right there.
Where is he?
Shoot him right there. See his big tall ears? I think you should shoot him. See him right there?
We gotta bring some food to the table. I don't see him. You should shoot him.
Here you go.
Got it. Whew. Got a great big old jackrabbit in it. I think it's one of them antelope jackrabbits.
That was awesome.
Whew. He's a big one. He's big.
Is that your first one, or have you?
That is my first antelope jackrabbit. I've shot jackrabbits and I've shot antelope, but never an antelope jackrabbit. I bet you this thing weighs 8 or 10 pounds. Look at the ears on that thing. Thanks, Jim.
That was awesome.
That was
a good opportunity.
That was exactly what I was hoping would happen when I had Jim Heffelfinger, the jackrabbit expert of North America, with me.
That's right. That's my specialty.
How can a deer biologist be such a jackrabbit expert?
Because they're just like deer. I mean, they're like miniature deer. How can you not love those? And we have these antelope jackrabbits that are like mule deer with the big ears in the open country. And then we have the cottontails and brushy stuff with the shorter ears like whitetail.
Yeah.
It's really a mirror image. The lagomorphs are a mirror image of the deer. Right down to the antlers on the jackalopes.
Yeah, that one. I shot an antlerless jackalope.
That's right. That's right.
That's legal, right?
Mm-hmm. And they're called does.
Does? Okay.
Yeah.
And the cool part was, when you have somebody like Jim Heffelfinger with you, we did a whole stop out and I guess you could call it gutless method on that antelope jackrabbit. They're that big. I'm betting this one was at least 10 pounds. I mean, it was a monster. So we hang him up and Jim's giving me the, all right, do this, do that. And it was cool. We ended up with a lot of meat off a jackrabbit. I know a lot of people are gonna say, huh, jackrabbit? Trust me, when you see the response of the people who got to eat some of that jackrabbit as prepared by Marcus Hawkins, the jackrabbits were high on the list of quarry the day after. After we got that jackrabbit, now we're really late. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I guess it doesn't matter if we're a half hour late or an hour and a half late. So we're driving down this spot and there's a big pond there. And we knew that the next day we're going duck hunting with the Falconry guys. And so I'm slowing down, looking for ducks in this pond, and a bufflehead flies off there. That's all I could find. And as I'm looking for ducks, Marcus says, oh, Javelina just ran up in the grass. I'm like, ah, yeah, right. Yeah, I thought maybe he's trying to jerk my chain. So we parked the truck, and sure enough, there's a Javelina going up through the grass. I'm like, I have an archery Javelina tag for this unit. Let's go. And I didn't know how many there were. I thought there was one. But anyone who hunts Javelina knows there's usually, where there's one, there's usually many more. And we're working our way up there. I'm like, where'd they go? Where'd they go? So we make a big loop. We got the wind in our favor. We come up over this knob, and they're all out across on this little rocky kind of, I don't know what all was growing there, cactus and ocotillo and all kinds of, whatever it was, cat claw, it bites. It grabs a hold of you and jabs you. Well, those Javelina are moving up through that stuff. And right down below me under the rocks, there was one. And just as I saw him, he starts kind of grunting and snorting, and he's moving off. And I start predator calling, because people have told me if you break up the herd and you start predator calling, they'll all come back because they're trying to defend a young one. Well, that might work if you break up the herd, but the herd didn't really break up. They just kind of started moving off. And it's like, well, I guess we're gonna have to chase him up this hill. And so we did. In the soft morning dirt, you could see the tracks of little Javelina. They just, on their way working up the hill, they just rutted up a trail going up there. It's really easy to follow them.
Please fall down. Come here.
Oh, that's not. I thought it was.
That's the same size as the one Karen saw. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's those giant boars, but this one probably tastes better.
Yeah. Perfect shot. He was quartering away, and I was downhill at a steep angle.
Just angled right up through
Went
there.
right up in there. I would bet the exit wound over here higher and up front further.
Go with the arrow.
Yeah, the exit wound is right up there. So it came perfect. Well, first critter with my new SR6. My first Javelina. What an amazing critter. Right here you can see why they call him a collared peccary. They got this white collar. Some of them had a way more pronounced collar. Some of them were grayish. This one's more dark. And the gray ones had a great big band. This is about the average size of what was in the group. There were a couple whoppers, like really big. But thank you, Mr. Javelina. We're gonna eat you tonight or tomorrow. You would not think that the landscape of the Sonoran Desert could provide as much food as it does. And this morning already we've got a big jackrabbit. We've got this. I bet you when we're all done just with those two, we've got, by the time we're done with this, 20, 25 pounds of meat. And you think this is such a hostile, terrible, inhospitable place. And it is not something the human condition is that good at surviving, but these animals, they make a living out here. 115 degrees. It snowed here a week ago. Incredible animals. The diversity and just the uniqueness, how they've adapted and made themselves able to survive is incredible. Thank you, mister. Thank you.
One of the differences between Javelina, the whole peccary family, which Javelina are, and true pigs, the old world pigs, like wild hogs, scent gland, of course. Hogs don't have that. And all the peccaries have 2 dew claws in the front, so they have 4 total toes. And then in the back, just 3.
What? 3?
Yep.
Look at that.
I mean, just 1 dew claw, so 3 toes. And then pigs have 2 dew claws in the front and the back. That's one of the anatomical differences.
So the
between
old
those.
world pigs have 2 dew claws
2 dew
on
claws.
each.
Yep, all the way
front
around.
and back.
And some people make a big deal out of these are not pigs. They're not pigs. But Suidae, which is a pig family, and Suidae, which is the peccary family, they're just branches off the same arm. I don't make a big deal out of the fact that they're not pigs because there's just some little anatomical things, and it looks like a pig and smells like a pig. We call them pigs. When we're doing helicopter surveys, someone will go, pigs on the right. And when I first came from South Texas, I was like, pigs? I didn't think you guys had pigs. And it's just a colloquial term.
Wow.
Those are sharp. Yep. Yeah, if you're not paying attention and you kind of drag across that, it'll cut your hand open.
Yeah.
They're super sharp on the end.
And so I just took the whole Javelina, threw them in my Mystery Ranch Metcalf, headed down to the truck where we had everything we wanted, game bags, the whole works that we could quarter him up, hung him in a tree, did the gutless method, and in short order, we had an Antelope Jack Rabbit and we had a Javelina we had to take care of. So that's what, that was my day. I had nothing else to do other than go back to camp and take care of a bunch of meat. And I couldn't have been happier.
I really like it.
The good news was all of the other people had finally shown up. And this was, for most of them, this was their second day of hunting. And when they came back to camp, unfortunately, none of them had camera guys with them because I would have loved to have seen the footage. We had Brian Call, Mr. Gritty himself, the Gritty Bowman, had shot a buck.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Really? No way. That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
probably
out
like
hole. He was close to the road.
there. So, I actually climbed a tree, Randy,
Really?
and they shot him out of a tree.
No way.
Dude. Yeah.
Of all the times we've been coming down here, this was the first time anyone had tagged a Coues buck with archery gear. And it was on the second day. I'm like, man, that just usually doesn't happen.
When we go back, you can film on him.
No.
Mercy.
One of the great things about coming here is the quality of the food you end up with. So in December, Marcus and Wade had been down here on a rifle Coues deer hunt, and they both filled their tags. So we had a bunch of meat from that, and we had Jonathan made some unbelievable chili out of Wade's buck. I don't know how Jonathan made that good a chili, but it was primo. And then one of the nights, Marcus had left Wade with the hind quarter off, one of the hind quarters off his buck. And Wade had brought that down, so we cooked that on the Traeger one night. And now we got a Javelina, and we got an Antelope Jack Rabbit. We've got all kinds of food.
Well, I wish it was cold about it.
Oh, yeah.
If video could give smells and the full effect, you would all be here. You'd all be, we could auction off spots for the next trip.
It was about a year ago that I met Chris Parrish. And Chris is leading the non-lead partnership. He works for the Peregrine Fund. He's a trained wildlife biologist. Used to work for Game and Fish in Arizona. He's now leading this whole non-lead partnership effort by the Peregrine Fund to give people information about, hey, this is what some of the studies show. Chris is a serious hunter. He doesn't want to force it on anybody. He just wants people to have the information of, do you want to shoot lead? Do you want to shoot non-lead? Whatever. Let's just make sure everyone has the intel. When I got to meet him a year ago, he said, you guys ought to come down with your cameras and we'll do some falconry. What falconry? This is a dream of mine since I was a little kid. And so it worked out that those guys were already down here with 3 different falcons, a gyr, a peregrine, and a merlin. And then we met Paul. I'd not met Paul before. Paul was the falconer who owned these 3 birds. He lives in New Mexico. And just to sit and listen and understand what goes into training a falcon, keeping and maintaining a falcon, all that kind of stuff was just so, for me, so interesting. I could have stood there and spent the whole day talking to Paul and looking and just watching his birds.
If you look at that animal right there and you don't say, man, I wish I could hunt like him, you're not a hunter.
Right.
That guy is tooled up. I feel so.
They're the pinnacle, really.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
Everything about them is about hunting. I mean, there's...
and that's where we come at it from twofold. I mean, most hunters don't probably recognize one falcon from another falcon or one bootio from another bootio.
Which I wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think the fancy that people have, and that's why we're so grateful to you to get to share this with you, and you can share it with your followers, to say, look at the complexity in these hunters. If you want to look at a hunter who's the best in their field, it's these guys.
Yeah.
Stealth, speed, knowledge, I mean, they have it. And it adds to the hunt. So when you're out there sitting on a glassing knob and you see a golden eagle come by, yeah, it's neat, and people go, oh yeah, it's a big bird. But what about that bird makes a living? It doesn't, talk about hunt to eat, or yeah, that's what they do. This is not a weekend sport.
Yeah.
So,
But the idea was, hey, we better get rolling because we want to have some great thermals when we're out hunting, so these birds can use the thermals to get way up high. And the plan was
go to all of these stock tanks out here. And what stock tanks are, they're dirt tanks that the public land grazing holder, he makes these big water catchments for his cattle. And in the wintertime, there's usually a lot of ducks on them. Well, wouldn't you know it, we hit one of those days where we couldn't hardly find any. We put on so many miles, and Paul would go up and peek in, nothing. Come back, drive to the next tank, peek up, nothing. And we did that all day long. Our audience, if we would have come to the first tank and got them,
Right.
it'd have been like, Newberg, you rigged it. You
Sometimes
never
it
pulled
goes
out.
that way.
Well, we're gonna go to
We
the
remember
last
those
tank.
days.
The last tank will have ducks.
Swami says.
Some teal. At least 2, maybe 3 or more. I couldn't get a real good look at them. But yeah, they're kind of on this, I guess it'd be the northeast side of the pond. So put a bird in the air and see if we can get them to clear.
So the whole worry about teal is they may not fly. They'll just try to crawl in the grass when they see a raptor.
Yeah. And they, even when, if you do get them to fly, they'll be darting through. It's going to be hard for her, but you never know. We don't like a challenge.
That one right there looks like it's got all the tools, all the skills, and all the experience necessary. And we wait there for a little bit while his peregrine is flying and getting higher and higher and higher. And finally, Paul looks at it and says, yep, let's go get him. And how he and that bird know and understand and communicate is complete mystery to me. I have no idea. How the bird knows to follow where Paul's going and watch for other birds getting up, I have no idea.
Okay, you guys about ready? Let's go.
We get to the face of that dirt tank and we take off running up there, and Paul runs out there and he's trying to flush these teal, and they will not get off the water because they see that peregrine up there.
Oh, they gave her.
So Paul ran over to the other side of the pond. He finally got one of them to fly.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Up. Yeah.
It was so fun to see how that falcon knew what to do, how close it came to something that normally is not the duck species that they try to go after. They try to go after something like a mallard, a Mexican duck, a widgeon, something that's not willing to crawl up in the grass and hide. But for me, all I can say is it's one of those things I don't want to do just once. I want to go watch this again. I told Paul, next time you're up in Montana, you let me know. I will drop what I'm doing. Weddings, funerals, it doesn't matter. I'll be there. That was close.
Yeah, it gets kind of, Western, I guess you'd say, chaotic. Well, yeah, I mean, those teal, I don't know if you noticed, they were flying under the trees.
Under the trees. Yeah, they were this far off the deck.
She'd stoop and be like, God, I don't know where to go.
Ton of fun, folks. If you want to see someone who makes an investment in their animal, in all respects, time, commitment, passion, probably financially.
Yeah, it's the bulk of my...
These falconers, just spending a day with you has made it so obvious that the passion that you have for them, but also the commitment that you demonstrate to them is incredible. You got to fly them every day. You got to exercise.
Pretty much. Yeah.
When we were driving over here, I asked Marcus, I said, I wonder what he does when he goes on vacation.
This is it.
Oh, gosh. So with the duck hunting, the falconry, behind me. It was back to deer hunting. And Marcus said, let's try to get back to that place where we didn't get to because we ended up shooting a jackrabbit and a javelina before we got there. I'm like, cool, I'm in, let's go do it. I wish I could tell you exactly what happened, but there were about 15 deer on the hillside across from us. And something over here on this other hillside got them, and we heard some snorting and blowing, how they sound for danger. And they all went around and out of this basin. There's a really nice buck on the passenger side. He was 4. And then he had eye guards, and then he had 3 nice ones and 1 little nub out there. So he's 5 on this side and 4 on this side. And he wasn't super wide, but he just was heavy. He came way back and then forward. He was a really cool buck. And then there was a really nice forky that I thought that would work. And then there was a little dick, like a spiker, about that long. So there were 3 bucks among those 15. I'd have shot any of the 3. They were kind of easing their way, like they're going to go bed over here. Don't know that we would have got a shot, but they just cleared the basin. Something, I just ranged it. It's 800 yards over there. They were all looking down in the hole below and to our right. Not very far from. The way they were looking down, they must have been pretty close to whatever it was. They're just, they're fidgety things. Marcus and I sat there for a little while longer. I was about 5 minutes away from saying, let's grab our stuff, let's get out of here. And Marcus, I never did see these deer come over into the basin, but Marcus says, I see a deer over there. And we get to look in and grab the spotter. Whoa, it's not just a deer. It's another 5x4, but he's got 5 on the other side. I've been watching this buck for almost an hour now. The wind is consistent, where I can't come in from the right. The wind's going right to him, so I'm gonna have to make a big loop up over these ridges. And I think I can come down that one spot because he's got a bunch of trees around him. I'm hoping those trees will make me obscured. So if he's here, I'm coming down here. He's got trees between him and where I'm coming. The idea is not to stalk him. His doe is bedded about 75 yards to the left, and there's a rock wall about 30 yards from where she's bedded. The idea is to get down and around and get to that rock wall and wait there until he gets up off his feet and hopefully starts moving her around. Once we got over there, the wind was doing exactly what you know it will do on a sunny day. The thermals are coming up the slope, really, really strong. We're just sneaking, staying in this little band of trees, worried that if that buck is still bedded out in the open, he'll be able to see us. Well, we get down there far enough and I look, I can see where he was bedded. He's not there. We're sneaking really slow, and we get there and I'm looking, I think it was this tree right down here in front of us, and I ranged that tree. It's like 21 yards. Nah, can't be that tree. Where are they? And as I'm looking, trying to locate a deer, trying to make sure it was the right tree, the doe gets up and she's just bounds in one quick swoop. She's out from underneath the tree, down in the bottom, and up on the little bench on the other side. Well, she stands there snorting and wheezing and snorting and wheezing. And at the same time, Marcus and I see the buck get up out of his bed. You can see the antlers through the brush down here. So we move off to the left and a little forward. Couldn't shoot. See those trees right in the way there? Damn it. Dang. Didn't get a shot. But we knew where there's a good buck. That was the fun part. You know how when you go and do a really big stalk that takes 2 or 3 hours, even if it doesn't result in a deer, the fact that everything right up to the last little bit went exactly how you had diagrammed it, there's a lot of satisfaction that comes with that. There's a lot of frustration that you didn't close that last little gap, but there is definitely satisfaction in knowing that your strategy worked to some degree. When we got back to camp, we'd sent Michael with Wade and a couple of our other guys, and they'd done pretty good on the quail.
Anyway, so there were birds in here. This is kind of dry habitat for what I'm used to, but that's what I like to find, man, and that's why it's cool to have the other people running around. You find something like this, nobody else is going to come in here and hunt Merns. It just doesn't look like Merns habitat.
Yeah.
And so if I can find spots like this, or somebody else can find spots like this for me, this is cool.
I hope we deliver.
This is cool. Down over there. So.
Did I hit him?
Yeah, I think so. Somebody did.
Yeah.
Nice shot.
Hold. Drop. Good girl.
Yes. It's my first
That's awesome.
upland bird ever.
Really?
Yep.
Congrats, dude.
That's a unique one to get. So that's a male Merns. It's a first-year bird. It doesn't have all the coloring on its head. It's easy to tell this time, but what a pretty bird, huh?
It's a good thing it was flying straight away from me.
It's always
That's
makes it
how I
a little
shoot
easier.
well.
And the spots underneath is just crazy. There's gonna be birds right here.
Nice shot.
This is frustrating. This is intense.
Dude, it is intense, man. Drop. Yeah. See, now that's could be an adult male. I'd have to look at the feathers, but look at the difference in the face mask on it.
Man, what a cool looking bird.
Sorry, dude, I gotta grab some water for her. Good girl. Whoa! So there's another one in front of her. So these are tubers. So this one had a lot of tubers in it, so it's been digging. You can see it looked like a lily bulb or whatever. And that's what they're digging up when they're scratching the ground. They also have some mesquite seeds in them, or cat claw seeds in them. But the other one had all forb seeds and cat claw beans. So there's a lot of food up here for them, obviously. But that's more typical of
What I think is cool is how you're finding Mearns quail in non-Mearns quail habitat.
Absolutely. This is fringe stuff, dude. This is stuff, if I tell everybody in the world where to go hunt, I'll tell them 30 to 40% canopy cover. Moist soils where the birds can dig, right? We're kind of missing that here.
Yeah.
So, which is cool, right? That's cool.
Yeah.
"62 yards, kind of right in the direction you're going."
Dudes. Nice shooting.
Man, those are cool birds.
Headshot.
Yep. Dusted.
Shot. Discount it, move in. Easy. Smoke that one, brother. Get ready. That's a hen. Look at the buff on that.
That is crazy. Like, how different it is.
See that buff color on their breast? Totally different. The males are all black and white.
That is so much fun. Yeah, that is so much fun.
We had a really successful hunt today. The biggest part of it is we had 3 people today that had never shot a Mearns quail, and everybody had an opportunity to get them. Sam stuck with us for the rest of the afternoon, and we did well, man.
We did very well.
It was cool.
Yeah.
We missed a lot more than we hit.
Yes. I don't know how many shots. I think I had a whole, let's see. I think I'm down to 4. So I think I shot 21 times today. There was at least one that was just frustration shooting. Sent straight to the plug.
Yeah, it just died with it. But now it's all new country to us. I mean, I hadn't been in here before, any of the spots today, and we got into cubbies every place we stopped for the most part.
Yeah, and quick in every
quick,
spot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Shy was energized for the most part most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a great day, and I love being down here. I mean, what is it, January?
Yeah, it's January 17th, and it's 60.
I'm t-shirt
Yep.
sweating.
Yeah, it's great. That's perfect.
Well, it's our last morning in Arizona to hunt. So we're gonna go out to a familiar spot we've hunted before, and with any luck, little Dick will come by with an antler about that long, and we'll fill an Arizona tag. If not, we've been trying really hard. We took the one day off for the waterfowl with the falcon. But other than that, we've been at it daylight to dark every day, except the day we shot a jackrabbit and a javelina. The same day we went home early that day and took care of all the meat. But it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun guys in camp, and out here just taking advantage of these over-the-counter opportunities that Arizona has. Tons of public land, and enjoying some beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, and thanks to the chefs we had in camp, i.e. Marcus and Jonathan, we've been enjoying some great food also. Stay tuned. This could be the morning.
No. This is the morning.
Oh, Marcus says this is the morning. Yes, it is the morning right now.
So I got up on the last day and told Marcus and Michael, hey, jump in the truck with me. We're gonna go back out to this spot. We call it the Kawadi Rocks, because last year Brian Call shot a Monday out here, and we came out here and the wind is just really, really howling.
I mean, it was a nippy morning. It was in the high 30s temperature-wise, but the wind was blowing in at least 20 miles an hour. And so we glass and glass and glass and glass, and not a lot of deer activity. But we lucked out. Michael spotted a buck and a doe, which turned into be a buck and another doe, and then a buck and a third doe. And we watched them for over 2 hours before, probably 2.5 hours, before they finally bedded. And they bedded in a great location. The good news is with the wind, it creates a lot of movement, so they're bedded in the grass. It's harder for them to detect movement, and it will disguise a lot of noise. So this could be a really up-close encounter if we get there. Marcus and I just started walking over there, and I don't think it took us 10 minutes and we were there. We're about 250 yards away. To the extent we can. Want to take the road to some degree, but that other doe is bedded in there somewhere too. I'm going to stay close to the road just so I don't bump some deer that I haven't seen. They're up here. The tops of those trees are the drainage that they're in. Here goes nothing. They were under. They were here for about 20 minutes. They went down. They went up. So they're out here about 100 yards. We can get to this bush is 40. He's 38 yards back. What? Damn doe. Dang it. The doe saw or smelled something. Oh, that's why. Bedded right here. 30 yards away. But he had 3 does up here, and I don't know if they heard, they saw, but one of them just came blasting out of here. Guess I should have just stayed there. But my fear was if he got up and went this way, I was tied up against some bushes and I wouldn't have had a shot. So I was trying to get around him, just 3 feet or so. This is why I do it. This is, you know, you get through this moment of frustration, and then you stop and think about how your heart is still going boom, 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 boom. And the exhilaration of standing right there, seeing his antlers here above the grass, thinking, yep, that is why I do it. There's something inside all of us that is this pursuit, this predator, this DNA that drives us to hunt. And today, this is my last stalk. We gotta go back to camp and get reorganized and do a bunch of other stuff. So, my 3rd year of coming down here and chasing these things. And I've yet to release an arrow. Every time I've had stalks that got me under 40 yards, but it's just that hard. Getting within archery range and then getting a shot, I'm discovering are 2 very different things. If you're looking for something that is pretty much an off-season or latest of late season opportunity to come and do something that is a ton of fun, great eating, tags are easy to get, it's all kinds of public land, I can't think of a better place than Southern Arizona. And if you do it, bring some friends like we do. It is one of those places where having a bunch of people there makes for a really, really fun experience. I also want to thank Arizona Game and Fish for the great job that they do of managing this resource for the amount of opportunity it provides. You don't think of Arizona as an opportunity state, but it can be. And in this instance, it is opportunity galore.